The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
All right, man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
Yeah, mate.
He is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. We're here interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom, laughing at it all, while providing a platform to be heard. So let's pay some bills. This show is sponsored by Agent Stacy Connor of Windermere. Whatever your real estate needs, Stacy will help you reach your goals with confidence. Top luxury agent, sports and entertainment division. You can reach her at 702-741-5944 or Stacy Connor at Windermere. So without further ado, let's get into it. We got to welcome our guests. All right. So growth driver, visionary leader, motivator, executive of marketing brand. He is a game changer and an ultimate friend of the show. Let's clap it up for John Shumate. Let's clap it up.
What's up?
Yes.
Long time coming. That intro is unbelievable. The music that plays as you lead in, it just gets you hyped up and fired up. The champs are here and we're ready to go.
The champs are here. So if we're ready to go, then let's get it. So
Okay.
you know how we start the show.
Yeah, I cheat.
So you know how we start the show. So please give us a shoot your shot moment, man. A time when you bet on yourself and you went for it all. Go.
Well, I got two. So,
Okay.
you know,
Oh, you really came.
I got a personal and then a business one. We'll start with the personal first. So,
Okay.
I'm going to go way back.
Back
into
into time.
2003-ish time.
Okay.
You know, I was getting ready to head to graduate school down in Florida, and in Columbus, Ohio, a party that happens once a month called First Friday. So I decided to go check out First Fridays.
Yeah, First Friday's a little different in the Midwest than they are out here.
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
no, it's official out there for sure. And I was at the party, and I saw a young lady across the way.
Okay.
And, you know, I was watching for quite some time. You know,
Ooh.
I don't know if you seen that show on Netflix called You. You know, it has the guy that's kind of like talking
You
to
laughing,
himself
you
the whole
see
time.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph.
I ain't crazy like that. Though.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
crazy like that.
Joe.
though.
Yeah, you might want to define where.
But I was just talking to myself and thinking like, okay, how do I approach this person? You know what I
Okay.
mean? So started singing that Jodeci song, "Come and Talk to Me" in my head, just to get me hyped up to walk over there and talk to her. You know what I mean? So I started making my move, and then all of a sudden, this corny cat comes up in front of me and asks her to dance, and so they start dancing.
Oh, he cut in on
He
you.
cut in, got me right. So then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient and see what happens. So then they finally stopped dancing. She moved over to the side. I made my way over there. We started dancing, had a good vibe. And
Right.
next thing you know, she's like, I'll be right back. Didn't see her the rest of the night. Gone.
Ooh, she ghosted you.
Ghosted me. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm at my boy's house, and he's the ultimate player. You know, my nickname is John Stockton. I'm an ultimate wingman, assist man. You know what I mean?
John Stockton. Let's
yes.
go.
So he asked me to come over. He's like, I got this girl coming over. She's bringing a friend. I need you, bro. I'm like, all right, I'll come through.
Right.
Come through, start talking to this young lady, you know, running interference, doing my thing. I'm getting ready to move to South Florida. So I'm like, I'm not trying to,
Right. You're trying to lock out.
get in a situation where I move to South Florida.
I'm
you
here
know,
for the
South Beach,
moment,
all that.
right?
Exactly. Had a great conversation, kind of left it be,
Okay.
and then moved to South Florida, but kept in touch with the friend. Finally, next thing you know, she's like, oh, I'll set you up with my friend. So we started talking, you know, vibing, getting together, those types of things, long distance. Come to find out, it was the same girl that was at that party that ghosted me. Did not realize, because it was dark, you didn't know.
Right.
And now, you know, 14 years later, we're married. Yeah.
That's big time.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was
that's
my shot. So
That's a hell of a shot
Yeah.
because you rebounded and
Yeah.
you know you went into overtime with that one.
Absolutely. Put in the work.
The mic part from the wood where he does that kind of he takes like that little route, that little curl route over there to make that attempt. That's
Yeah.
what I whole pictured.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
hilarious.
So yeah, that was one that I shot and made, but I gotta also, you know, talk about ones that I missed.
Okay.
And so now I'm gonna rewind back to 19 exactly.
Let's
I'm
hit it.
gonna go back to 1998,
Okay.
Wittenberg University, Springfield, Ohio, 2,000 students, predominantly white, you know, college university.
Sure.
The alma mater.
Yes, and I actually became a part of the student programming board.
Okay.
And so we were responsible
CPB.
for bringing in entertainment acts. You know, we brought out, you know, Carrot Top, Gin Blossoms, Hootie and the
Wow.
Blowfish, Tommy Davidson. the list goes on and on for a small school. Not too bad,
it's
right?
Not bad at all.
So my senior year, I'm like, look, senior year, I'm a hip hop head. I got to bring hip hop back to Springfield, Ohio.
Okay.
So literally, I'm at the barber shop in Columbus on
Okay.
a payphone. Yes, I'm dating myself. I'm on a payphone talking to a booking agent.
And you said barbershop,
Yeah.
so that kind of threw me off too. You and Miles rocking the same circles right now, but go
I
ahead.
know.
All right.
You got it.
There you go.
You got it.
Yeah,
I used
that's a
to
point
have
for
hair.
EJ.
I used to have hair. So I'm on the phone. We're trying to figure out who to bring out to Springfield, Ohio. We
Okay.
have the date booked September 26th, 2 days before my birthday. And we're trying to identify artists. There was one artist we were interested in. He dropped a mixtape. He was, up and coming. Things were going good. But he said, you know what, though? He's got a tendency a few, weeks before the show to ask for more money.
Okay.
And so we were a small school. We had tight budgets. I couldn't really take that risk, and I didn't want to take the risk. I pretty much went with this guy's advice and said, move on.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up getting a Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
It was their last show before they broke up.
Yeah.
So the show was fire. Q-Tip was late, of course. The show started at 8. He
The
missed
Dragon.
his flight.
Oh,
wow.
Came in to Dayton. Dayton's about 15, 20 minutes away.
yeah.
Rushed him in. Dude came on stage and killed it, right?
Okay.
So that Tuesday, September 28th, which is actually my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
2 albums came out. One was the Tribe's last album,
Mm-hmm.
and the other album was the artist that I passed on over probably $5,000. And that album that dropped was A Hard Knock Life.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
So I meant, yeah, you just had to play the music to just,
just to show how, just rub that shit
rub
in.
it in. So that was one of those things.
This is what you missed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, it was one of those things now, even to this day.
Yeah.
I've even talked about it in interviews. It's like, oh, what is your biggest disappointment, or what are the things that you've learned from? And you always want to take the time to take the extra steps to get as much information as you possibly can. You can't always just rely on one person. You've got to do your research, do your due diligence. And at the end of the day, would $5,000 kill us? Probably not,
Yeah.
especially for Jay-Z.
Nah.
So
That is
Wow.
crazy.
That
even
is
to this day,
absolutely
I'm
crazy.
chasing. So hopefully I could do a show with him at some point in my career just to make up for it. But
And now
Yeah,
that
that
you
hurt.
said that, I see that happening. There's going to be some
hurt.
way
Wow.
with what you do, and we're going to get into that,
Yeah.
that you're going to make that happen.
So for the love of sports, where did that foundation start?
I mean, honestly, as a child,
Okay.
I went to, growing up in Columbus, Ohio, you have no choice but to love the Ohio State University.
Say it again, who?
The
Mm.
Ohio State University.
Okay.
And for me, going to the game with my father was just memorable, right? And then was fortunate enough to grow up around it my whole career,
Yeah.
my whole life.
Right.
My father was affiliated with the university, so I got to go to bowl games and trips and all this stuff. So I was just grew up around the Buckeyes. And
That's
so-
awesome.
But then I played sports. I started out playing soccer, played a little bit of basketball as well. I tried football, but I joined too late, and I was beyond trash.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be honest with
So you said it was trash, and you was beyond
I
that.
was
huh?
beyond trash. I mean, I didn't know the plays. I didn't know anything. I was
Right.
just a big dude just trying to block and
Mhm.
do those things, and it just was like, I'm not
This
going
is-
to the league.
Like this is
not gonna work.
over.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not going to the league, so let me figure out how I can work it behind the scenes, if at all possible. And that's kind of how I got the love of sports there.
So, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So that early, you was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not seeing this. Let me figure. I love this because I love the energy and all of the things that's come with it. Let me figure out how I can maneuver my way into it.
Yeah, I was always the type of person that was always in the mix, knew everybody, networker, those types of things. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be your agent, I'm gonna be your manager, and I used to walk around with a piece of paper, have people sign paperwork saying, okay, if you do make it big, I'm gonna be your representative. Just in case.
Just in case.
Nobody panned out at the time, but at least I was getting practice a little bit earlier. For
And
sure.
you're covered.
Yeah.
You had it locked in.
Exactly.
How influential was Pops in that, in your nature of, okay, I not necessarily a backup plan, but I know I'm going to be working behind the scenes. How influential is it?
Extremely influential. Not only my father, but my uncle. Actually, my uncle Walter Luckett used to play for Ohio University back in the day. Was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a freshman.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a beast. And you talk to him, you start talking about how good you were, and you're like, okay, yeah. And they didn't really have film, but
Right.
he scored he was in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Scored 100 points in high school with no 3-point line.
All
So
right.
it was just one of those things where you just grew up
Wow.
around it. And then I also, my friends were very competitive
Okay.
athletes as well and participated in sports quite a bit. So it's just one of those things where it just it found me. It was like the universe, and it just found me. I just was unfortunate that I wasn't 6'4", you know what I mean, and talented enough to do the things that I would love to do on the field, but fortunate enough to do it behind the scenes off the field.
Nice.
Ohio State memory. Kind of give me a memory of being a kid in the stadium there.
Woo! I would. There's a couple, but
Okay.
one, it wasn't at the stadium, but it was in Arizona, in Tempe, Arizona,
Okay.
when Ohio State played the U. I was at that game, and what the crazy
Tough
part
one.
about it was,
That's
I
a
was with
tough
my
one.
dad, and we were in the suite,
Okay.
and it was overcrowded.
Humble brag.
No, what? Just facts.
Just-
Just facts. I'm just telling the truth, right?
Just
Just
And
facts.
he's like, okay, it's a little crowded, and this dude pulls out 2 tickets on the 50-yard line, like, here, if you want to go sit outside and find somebody to go to the game. I'm already in the stadium.
stadium.
Self-service doesn't even work. So I literally went outside and was amongst the fans on the 50-yard line watching this amazing game. And, you know, national championship, Coach Tressel, Claret, the whole nine. It was a beautiful thing. Then the second one was when Ohio State beat Alabama because it's Sugar Bowl.
Yes.
You know, going into the playoffs because, you know, Ohio State was like 0-100 versus SEC schools. And it was just one of those things
One of those
where
things, yeah.
finally, you know, we beat a legit SEC team, and it was just unbelievable. Thank you, Ezekiel Elliott. I appreciate you.
So you like to hear that, right? You got some love for Ezekiel.
I do got love for Zeke. That game at Ohio State in Miami, I didn't have love for that. I remember that game a whole lot because, I was still getting a haircut at my homeboy's house.
There you go.
My hairline was crisp at that time.
There it is.
But that
Back
controversial,
in the day.
yeah, that pass interference call in the end zone, man.
Well, first of all, if you watch the plays leading up to that, it was pass interference every play going down the field.
And
then you can't tackle somebody before the ball gets to them. But I digress. And
Yeah.
my U fans probably won't like hearing it, but just keeping it 100.
And of course, I'm torn, loving the U and Ohio. So
Yeah.
with that, so we know Ohio State's your team, right? Did you follow the Browns and the Cavs? Like, how did that work for you for professional?
Yeah, about that. I mean, no, honestly, Ohio State was our professional team. It was just like
100%.
Saturdays was the pro day, and Sundays you go to church, and then you kind of watch football in
Football.
the background. And this was before Sunday Ticket too, so you were, I shouldn't say the
Stuck.
word stuck,
Yeah.
but you were, you know, given the choice of none other but the Browns or the Bengals.
You're giving no other choice, right?
Right, no other
Tim
choice.
Kelly.
Yep.
So then you were watching all the Ohio State guys at other.
Exactly. I would always cheer for Buckeyes that played in the pros.
Okay, but what about the Cavs though?
Yeah. You know, basketball is one of those sports too, and in professional football, I like all the teams.
Okay.
I just like seeing competitive athletes play, and you kind of just cheer on those people. You develop a connection. You kind of hear their story, and you
Right.
kind of follow. I mean, ironically enough, one of my favorite basketball player of all time is Larry Johnson. Die hard. When I
Really?
got haircuts, I used to get the part in the
The
middle.
part in the middle.
I put the foil in my teeth too. I don't like when people say, "Oh, grandmama," because I feel like that's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, UNLV Larry Johnson was just
Okay.
unbelievable, and my basketball game was patterned after that too. You know,
I was gonna
just
ask you
power
that.
Forward. Yep,
So
So
Larry
Baby-
Johnson was your guy.
my guy,
Okay.
my guy. Like if dude walked in, and I've met a lot of athletes and stars, but if he walked in, I probably would just straight lose it.
Okay.
Got his jersey and everything.
So that was your kind of going through your professionals and then your sports, and you talked about kind of where your sports career went. Okay.
Nowhere.
So you have twin boys.
Yes.
Where are they at in the path on sports, and how are you dealing with that? Right, because now from when we were growing up, there's so much questioning if you should even put your kids in sports, right, because of all of the health issues and things like that.
Sure.
So where are you on all of that kind of combined with the track your boys are taking?
I never wanted to force my sons into anything.
Okay.
I wanted them to discover and just find out and figure it out for themselves.
Mhm.
But every Saturday, the Shumate household is watching college football. We're watching Ohio State. So you have no choice, right, but to start loving Ohio State. And it's crazy.
And it's getting ingrained.
I have twin
and-
boys. Their birthday's on Monday, 9 years old. And they have the ESPN app. They're looking at the stats. They're
Wow.
breaking down film. I was showing them film of Zeke Elliott and Ted Ginn Jr., and they're playing in the flag league out here in Las Vegas, and they're beasting it. And I don't want to be one of them proud, braggadocious type fathers, but you go
Legit.
out there, them dudes got wheels. Every time they touch the ball, they're scoring a touchdown. I
love
mean, they're just, and they're loving it and they're enjoying it. But my one son, Chase, he's kind of artistic and free spirit, and he's like a kid's kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the dude that doesn't care about football but got wheels. You know what I mean? Like, he plays because his brother
This is
is so
easy.
serious.
His brother's there.
Right, exactly. But he's the type of person I'll just go home and watch cartoons.
Mhm.
Whereas my other son, Jackson's sitting there watching the game, breaking down film and, really analyzing football. So if he doesn't make it as a football player, he definitely could be a coach or a GM. No question about that.
I love it.
On the Ohio State subject, they play a team this weekend that's pretty hot.
Hopefully.
Hopefully they play a team this weekend.
No,
that's
don't
pretty
play.
hot.
We playing. They're playing.
Okay.
They won't allow fans, but they're playing.
Okay.
So how do you feel about that outcome?
I feel good. I really,
Feel good?
Justin Field. This was one of those things when they were debating on whether or not playing the college football season. I was like in pain
Mm-hmm.
because there's nothing worse than not seeing a talented individual
Sure.
showcase their talent. And we have the ability to have a unbelievable talent in Justin Fields, have unbelievable wide receiver core. It would have just been a travesty not to see that, especially how they went out last year. I
Right.
mean, with that Clemson, that interception,
Yeah.
that was just painful. You
Tough
seen a
game.
grown man cry, that was me. I was crying.
That was a tough one.
And just knowing that they had the talent and the ability to win, just to see them come back is just, it's therapeutic, especially all this nonsense that we're going through right
For real.
now. Just to look forward to it. I know their game was canceled last Saturday. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I was at a loss. I'm like, I don't care about these games. I want to see my team.
Team.
But I'm excited. Look forward to seeing a good competitive game. I'm happy for Indiana. It's
Yeah.
good that they're relevant. And, we'll see. I don't like talking trash because I lived through the John Cooper years.
Yeah.
So, you start you
Yes.
feeling good. You have the best talent in the world and they just don't show
then
up.
you-
But
right.
Ryan Day is a phenomenal coach and they have a great
Yes.
team. I'm a little concerned about the defense, but hey, we're going to strap it up and play.
Shout out
It
to my
is.
boys. I coached a couple kids that's on IU
Okay.
right now when I had some time in Indiana. So it's gonna be a tough game, but I'm looking forward to it this weekend.
Tough is definitely a word you could use. So how were you? Take us back to, it's, pre-COVID, everybody was like, I know me and you talked about this all the time. Like, all right, football's a way away. We're going to get out of this thing. Football's going to be good. We get here and people are canceling seasons. And then some people are making those inroads to come back. Everybody in Ohio's playing football except Ohio State, man. What were you going through? And then what do you think was why the decision was made so late?
I think they were just exercising caution. They were
Sure.
looking at the data and the information based on the doctors and what was being told, and they know the disease. I mean, should they be playing? Probably not, but I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But,
Right.
but at the same time, I mean, props to Kevin Warren and his leadership. I mean, just to see someone coming in new from the outside
Yeah, man.
to get thrown in the fire. And one of my best friends is in digital marketing, and he always challenges me to look at the comments. I hate reading comments. It's the worst because you realize that the people that are the same fans of you don't have the same views as you on the world and life. And
Okay.
you get what I'm saying, you
Yes.
know? And it's just so
Yes.
disappointing. You're just like, we're all Buckeyes. We all bleed red. Like,
Right.
why do you want to sit there and crucify this brother, for what he's trying to do to help? And they're like, oh, your son's playing the SEC, yada, yada, yada. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where he had information. He thought he was making the best decision based on the information, but knowing that things worked itself out, we still got a game, we still got a season, hopefully we got a college football playoff, and we can go from there.
Nice.
So take me back. I love hearing the journeys of the higher education part. So Wittenberg University, how did you start? How did you know that was the school that was best fit for you?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Columbus, everything was Ohio State. But in reality, Ohio State had 50,000 students.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want to be another number or be in a classroom with 300 to 400 people. Not all their classes are that big, but then also, too, the average person, of course, it may have changed. My dad might yell at me for saying this, but it usually takes people 5 years to graduate undergrad. So, I mean, they probably improved it. They probably improved it now. So, shout out to Ohio State. But I wanted more of a smaller, closer, intimate experience.
Right.
And going to a small school such as Wittenberg University, 45 minutes away from Columbus, 15 minutes away from Dayton. So I was far enough away to where my parents couldn't pop up on me if they didn't want to. But
And you
close
could have
enough
that
home-
experience.
Yeah, and close enough home to get home if I needed. But
Right.
it was a great intimate experience, and it just gave you an opportunity. And the university just gave me the ability not only to learn academically,
Mhm.
but to learn outside of the classroom. So again, I was talking about I was part of the student programming board.
Right.
I was part of Student Senate. I was a part of the Concerned Black Students. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So it was just so many different opportunities for you to grow and develop as a leader. And that exposure just really gave me the confidence. And I graduated high school, I was 17. So I was still kind of young
Yep.
and didn't want to go too far away, but really enjoyed the experience, and I've developed a lifelong friendships. I'm still in contact, 20 some odd years out of the game,
That's awesome.
and really tight with a lot of the people and the individuals. And I so happen to be serving on the board of directors at the university too, as well. So I'm
That's big
definitely,
time.
There it is.
it's one of those things in school. You see,
There it
you
is.
used to see the the board walk around,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the student center. I'm
Yeah.
like, one day that's going to be me. And thank God is just amazing, and I'm on the board and helping out as best as I can.
Love it.
So then the next step to FAU.
hmm
How did that go about?
So in between FAU, after school, after undergrad,
Mhm.
I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. My father's a lawyer, very prominent attorney, like,
Yes.
big time. I thought I was
Yes.
going to be a sports agent, the whole thing.
And you
But
already
see-
have some of those documents out
Yeah,
there
yeah.
that you need to, that you need to follow up on.
Exactly.
You had to make sure they was airtight, right? So,
But see, what had happened was,
oh yeah, one of them, right? What
Yeah,
had
right.
happened, right?
that situation called the LSAT, that
Yeah.
just wasn't something. I'm not a good standardized test taker. You got to know your strengths and your opportunities, and this just didn't really work out. So I went back home to Columbus and worked for a small urban apparel clothing line called Zero Casualties. Back then, they were trying to compete against FUBU.
Ooh,
And
That's
really,
tough.
That's it.
it was tough. 'Cause, Damon John was killing it. There was already established,
Still
but
killing it.
a friend of my father's, entrepreneur, wanted to get in the game, so I had several hats of sales, marketing, so on and so forth.
right.
But then I had a passion for sports as well,
Mhm.
so I wanted to get in the sports industry. So I sent my resume to every NFL, every NBA, every baseball, and a few hockey teams.
Okay.
Got so many no letters, it wasn't even funny. Even a no letter from the Miami Dolphins too, as well.
Wow.
Wow.
Man, that's
Wow.
wow.
But then I got a
circle.
call from the Columbus Blue Jackets,
Okay.
right? I don't know anything about hockey, not even interested in hockey, but came in, had the discussion. Probably one of the worst interviews I had in my career, due to the fact that I'm sitting there talking them out of hiring me. Because I'm like, I don't know anything about hockey, not really interested in hockey, but they really saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and just said, hey, just give us a chance. Come in here and learn,
Dang.
and get great experience. And that was the best, one of the kind of game-changing, pivotal experiences in my career
Yeah.
that allowed me to then spearhead. I'm like, okay, I'm getting a taste of this. I was also taking some sport management courses at Ohio State University
While you were there.
while I was there.
Okay.
But their program wasn't in the business program. And I was kind of thinking long term. I played chess at a very young age.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like you got to make moves for the long term.
Right.
And for me, it was one of those things where I knew getting a master's in business was going to be important for my long-term career aspirations. So let me get it out the way. Let me get it while I still can. But I found a program, Florida Atlantic University, that specialized. They had an MBA program, but it was also a sports specialization.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of like, okay, I want to be a team president one day, or I want to work for a brand or something along those lines.
Mhm.
Let me get this education that can open up, bigger opportunities down the road.
That's
And of
awesome.
course, I looked at several places, all warm, of course. I was looking at Florida and Arizona and Texas and all those things. But South Florida, taking my talents to South Beach, was a no-brainer.
Right.
And so the program, too, was set up to where I went to school at night, and you had to work in order to stay in the sports part of the program.
Okay.
So I was fortunate enough to where I got an opportunity when I was down there to work for the Baltimore Orioles spring training in PR. No interest whatsoever in PR. Just not me.
Right.
But the director at the time was like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. We need somebody to represent the university, go in there, interview, and see what happens.
Mhm.
End up getting the job. I'm like, dang. I mean, it was good, but I don't really like baseball like that either. No offense to baseball, but it's just not, it wasn't me.
Right.
So I was supposed to start in 2 weeks. So a week later, I get a call from the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
And it was the special events, game entertainment, television broadcasting coordinator role.
Okay.
And went in for the interview, and my boss at the time, or person I was interviewing with, said, you know what? You work in hockey? You work for the Blue Jackets?
Mm-hmm.
I used to work for the Florida Panthers. And so, we
Wow.
started
That was
talking
the
hockey.
connection. Yeah.
But think about it. If I didn't take that hockey job, I wouldn't have maybe gotten that connection because, you know, the old saying of here's a stack of resumes this high. And real talk, there was a stack of resumes this high. That,
Yes.
you know, competing for that role. And I was fortunate enough to get that job. And, of course, then I'm like, well, I already committed to the Orioles, right? So what do I do? And he was like, hey, you're going to have to choose.
Make these decisions.
So I was like, I'm definitely going with the Dolphins. There's no brainer. My director of our sports management program was pissed though because like you made a commitment, this, that, and the other, and we, you know, he was mad at me for a little bit. But now again, if I didn't make that move to the Miami Dolphins, it wouldn't have, you know, obviously went to where I am today. No question about it.
So let's jump in there. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're in the career, so let's talk more about your career, you know. And so that was one of the questions was how you got your foot in the door. So was it the Blue Jackets that you got your foot in the door, and then that just led to the snowball of kind of, you know, not saying no to opportunities, which is, I think, you know, one of the big statements that you're making and making those choices. So, so first it was that, how, and then it got to Miami Dolphins. How long were you at the Dolphins?
I was there for a year. So it was a
Okay.
year-long kind of, what's called a staff assistantship.
Okay.
So it was a year contractual type of role where you work through you do training camp and then you work through the season. And then at the end of the season, it was a recession, you know, no
Okay.
permanent jobs. Like, hey, we love you to stay, but there just wasn't anything going on. I still had another year of graduate school as well down in South Florida, but I was hungry. I was like, man, I got a taste of this. You know, I don't want to lose momentum.
Right.
And so I started looking and used Teamwork Online. It's the great website for sports.
Okay,
And-
Teamwork, we don't need a sponsorship for that plug.
We do.
yeah, my bad. But you know, speaking the facts, and I found an opportunity in Orlando with the Orlando Magic in sponsorship activation, and took that opportunity. And also, it's funny, like right before I had an offer with the Orlando Magic, the next thing you know, the Jaguars call.
Oh,
Jaguars like, hey, we want to interview you, and I'm like, I called my dad. I'm like, man, what do
what
I do?
Yeah.
I love the NFL. I want to stay in football. But I have an offer with the Magic. He was like, man, you take the offer.
Yeah.
You know,
Bird in the
there ain't no
hand.
possibles going
Yeah.
on because it was just like called to see if I was interested. But I took the Orlando Magic job, great experience in sponsorship activation, worked with major brands. TD Waterhouse at the time was the naming rights partner, so I had that. Chrysler Jeep. I also had Gatorade as one of my accounts as well.
Yes.
Big time.
And so Anheuser-Busch. and so I got that exposure. So I'm working with people on the brand side as they're trying to find ways to work with the Magic to unlock growth for their particular brand. So I felt like I made a point to be a part of the extension of their brand team.
Okay.
But I worked for the Magic and wanting to make sure that we did everything we can to maximize our relationship with them so we can keep that partnership going. So it was an
Awesome.
unbelievable opportunity. It was Dwight Howard's rookie season, a lot of fun. You know, Orlando was growing and a lot of fun. And so,
Yeah,
you know,
Superman
really enjoyed
came
it.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell Shaq that.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
he attempted to run with that. You know, we know how that story played out. So
Don't tell Shaq that. Time with Gatorade, man. It's funny having your experience in the Florida market, and I know kind of Gatorade kind of originated out of there. So
Gatorade.
talk to me about that time, man. That's a cool little.
Well, yeah, while I was at the Magic, then I got a call back to go to the Miami Dolphins in their partnership activation. So they had a role open up. They were looking for somebody that could bridge the gap between sponsorship and operations.
Yeah.
You know, on the sponsorship side, you know, a lot of times they'll go out and pitch things that may not be feasible or executable, or they don't have those conversations. So using
Right.
my experience on the special events side and then coming in and working with the sponsorship side, I was able to bridge that gap.
Okay.
And so with that, that really helped catapult me as well. I finished my degree at Florida Atlantic University, so
Wow.
I now have my MBA, and I'm a manager of client partnership activations at the Miami Dolphins. And my boss at the time, Mike Mossholder, shout out to Mike Mossholder, he's
Mike.
the greatest.
Yeah,
the
he's a good
greatest.
dude.
He pulls me in his office, and he's like, I need to talk to you. I'm like, okay. Come in the office. He's like, man, there's an opportunity at Gatorade. They want to talk to you. I said, for what? I'm down in South Florida. I'm back. I want to work my way up. We're a tag team. You know, let's go. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, you probably need to talk to Gatorade. For
Okay.
Sure. So went through that process, and it was like, oh, okay. This is
This
is the
official.
big-
You know, because now my role was flipping on the other side of the table. Now I'm working on behalf of the brand,
Right.
working with the partners or working with the teams to negotiate assets that we could leverage to unlock growth for the
Yes.
Gatorade business.
Yeah.
So again, that's another kind of huge transitional opportunity for me in my career, and that's when like the super bright lights come about, because
Sure.
Gatorade is one of the most iconic brands in sports and just iconic brands as a whole
Right.
to be a part of it. Now I'm working across NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball,
Wow.
college sports, the SEC, the ACC, and all the teams that are related there. So every time you watch the games and you see all the coolers and people drinking and all that stuff, that was our team's role to develop those relationships to get that product integration. So to give you that authenticity, right? So if the athletes are using it, they're drinking the product in the game, it's like, hey, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So that was just like a 24/7 commercial. When anytime you're watching the game, these people are drinking it naturally, organically. It was just an unbelievable experience, and I learned so much.
It was a part of sports so
Yes.
heavy at a certain time, right?
And
Like,
one of the experiences I had too was unbelievable. I had University of Florida was one of our accounts that I worked on,
okay.
and had the opportunity. They were doing a dedication where they did a marker on the university as like Gatorade being founded there, and so I had to speak on behalf of Gatorade, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And I met Dr. Cade,
Wow.
who was the inventor
Yeah.
of Gatorade.
Wow.
And literally maybe a month later, he passed away.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so to be able to work for Gatorade, and even I was a young buck there. There are people there who've been at Gatorade for quite some time that never met him.
Mhm.
That was a blessing in itself. He shook my hand, said, thank you for everything you're doing for us and the family. And that was just kind of near and dear to the heart to meet the person that actually made Gatorade. You go
Gatorade.
in the store, you see it everywhere.
That's
It's
big.
crazy.
That's super big. So you're a bit of a shoe head. Okay. And we got our resident shoe expert here just sitting right next to you. I like the way you just peeped the shoe game really quick.
He did.
You saw that?
You saw that too, right?
I did.
He
It's
saw
a
it at the
sneakerhead
side.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
a sneaker.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm just observing all around. So were you a big shoe head before East Bay? Or was it kind of, catapulted
Yes.
into the
Boy,
next
East Bay was big.
It catapulted.
did all your paychecks kind of go like, some for the family, some to East Bay?
Well, that magazine came in.
Yeah, I mean, 100% of it.
catalog.
100% of it went to East Bay.
Wow.
I'm an all or nothing person. So before I got to East Bay, I wasn't really into sneakers. It
Okay.
was like I bought my first pair of Jordans maybe like a year before I took
Before
the
you-
job.
Okay.
And they weren't, according to my brother, real Jordans because they were mids. They were Jordan 1 mids. You know what I mean? So I got see why are you calling them?
I'm not.
but no. So
That's
it was
funny.
just one of those things where
That's funny.
I really get ingrained in the product and the business that I work with.
Yes.
Right. And so it's one of those things where if I'm working for an apparel and footwear company, I've got to understand the product.
All
I've
in.
got to be in. I've got to be involved, and you got to look the part. And so at East Bay, we worked with so many different vendors,
Okay.
like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. And there were days where we would have multiple meetings with multiple vendors. So guess what? I had to have a different pair of shoes on for each of those meetings because it's disrespectful. How you going to walk into an Adidas meeting with Under Armour shoes on? You know what I mean? Or how
Right.
you going to walk in a Nike meeting with Adidas on? That's the ultimate disrespect. I actually bought a shoe bag, like a shoe bag that where I would walk around and I'd have different pairs of shoes
in it.
and we were in Boston, meeting with like Reebok and a whole bunch of other vendors, and I had a different pair of shoes at each of our vendors that we were meeting with during the day, and it was just like, once I'm in, I'm in, and it's just one of those things where now I'm still a sneakerhead. My wife doesn't like it, but it's one of those things that you just enjoy and you love, and it makes you feel good. And now that
does.
the industry has transitioned to not so much formal wear and it's more lifestyle athleisure.
Yes.
Sure.
So more and more people are wearing tennis shoes with suits. They're wearing tennis shoes to work.
I mean,
and
even
it's
the-
acceptable.
And even the dress shoes, they're making more of a kind of sneaker soul
Oh,
kind
kinda
of.
Yeah,
to it.
Kohans. Yeah, but even that, it's kind of like, why buy that? You might as well just wear some Yeezys.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I really wanted to talk to you about this and just get your perspective on it because you've had relationships with all the big kind of shoe companies and you're a shoe head and the NBA draft is tonight, so just kind of made sense to me. So, LeVar Ball, he traveled that lane of kind of creating his own brand and he stepped into the shoe world trying to compete against the Nikes and the Adidas and the Under Armours of the world. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I got to give him all the props in the world. LeVar is just
Let 'em-
a marketing genius. I mean, he is passionate about his sons. He makes us fathers look bad because he goes hard for his kids. You
Real
know what
hard.
I mean? Like you have the group chats with your fellas, and we go back and forth about LeVar and how he moves.
Right.
And a lot of people are fans of him in my group chat. It's just like, hey, he loves his kids. He went out there. He saw an opportunity. He took advantage of it. I probably would have worked a little bit better on the quality of the product, but
Right.
but he tried. You know what I
Right.
mean? And you can't knock it. And now with LaMelo in the league, and he's a beast.
Mhm.
You know, Lonzo's doing his thing too. So I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud of him. And the Facebook Live show, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
So he's definitely doing everything he can to stay relevant and to make sure that his kids are good. I mean, people knew about Lonzo Ball, but if it
Nah,
wasn't for his dad,
That's true.
he wouldn't have
took
been
him
a
to
number
another-
2 pick.
Yeah.
You know, there's no disrespect. I mean, Lonzo does his thing, but the marketing machine behind him got him a little bit more attention. Otherwise, he's just been a regular kid from the
Got
street.
willed him to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
just get drafted, like where he was going.
Right.
All right.
Right. 100%. So I hope LaMelo does well in Charlotte.
So, since we're on kind of philosophical questions,
Sure.
we go back and forth about this one. All right. So we want
I
your
don't like how you just grabbed the mic for to ask
'Cause-
this question.
listen. So, speaking of the draft, right? We talk about the college experience. All right. What do you feel about basketball players? Because it's really more for basketball players than other sports. Having the opportunity to go other places, G League, all the development leagues that they have, to forego college to do that for the year, which is the minimum at this point, and then go to the league. What are your thoughts about that opportunity versus a college opportunity?
Ooh, you didn't prep me for this one. But I would say it's tough because I love college sports.
For
Mhm.
sure.
I want to see the best compete in college, and there's nothing better than March Madness or now maybe May Madness, whatever. But the draft, I think, even today lost a little bit of its luster because we weren't able to see these players play in
1000%.
March Madness. I mean, Obi Toppin,
Well,
shout
go
out
Knicks.
Ohio, shout out Ohio. Yeah, that's a big pickup too. The fact
go.
that he dropped,
Oh
that
my
was
gosh.
huge.
Let's go,
But,
Knicks. We back.
We are not back. Stop that foolishness.
We'll see. Hopefully, they get Russ too. They'll
we
figure
we
that out.
working on it.
But to be able to
And-
see
and
that and
Kyrie.
to get the stories, of those athletes, you feel closely connected with them,
Mhm.
and you follow them in the NBA. I mean, the Zion phenomenon. I mean, the guy was this YouTube sensation, an overtime sensation, ball is life sensation. You knew about him, and seeing him play at Duke,
Duke,
which was
yeah.
so disappointing that they didn't win it all. But
That's true.
it is what it is there. But to be able to see that is must see TV. Ain't nobody. I'm sorry, love you G League. It's the Gatorade League. Shout out to Gatorade.
Yes.
But ain't nobody watching the G League, and it's just one of those things where you want to see these players play.
Right. And that's not the argument, by the way.
Yeah. What's the argument?
The argument is about getting the college experience.
Yeah, that too. You want to have the college experience. I mean, I grew so much, but they're only going to be there for years, so you're not going to get the full experience. But you're going to meet somebody. Who knows? If you didn't go to college, you may not meet Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I mean? Or the next billionaire kid that's there, or that somebody's going to help you. So the networking, especially if you're going to top schools, is invaluable.
Now, we're all talking as business professionals that are 1% or further away from going professional. So our mindset is a lot different. We're talking about these athletes that are going to school just to go to the league. So they're not going there for that college experience. Hell, by the end of the second semester or quarter, these guys are ineligible because they're dropping out. So these are not the guys that are going there for the college experience. They're doing the bare minimum, or they're getting paid or paying a tutor to get them through their classes to keep them eligible.
Ooh, that hurts. I mean,
So-
don't disrespect these guys. I mean, they're smart. They're doing their schoolwork.
I didn't.
mean,
Nothing said that.
Yeah.
It's smart for them to have someone that's handling them and keeping them educated and keeping them through the system. That has no determination on whether they're smart or not. But you're telling me, so if you have that opportunity, right? Because you've had opportunities, and you have an opportunity that's going to propel you to where you're looking to go, and it's a path for you to choose and take, instead of going, like when Mike was like, no, you need to talk to Gatorade. Like, this is going to the NBA, and you have the development, to get there, and those tracks to get there. So that's where this argument kind of goes back and forth.
No, I see both sides of it, but I also feel like, again, the college experience, though it's only short, you're still getting that development. You're still practicing with others. You're still getting able to play in Rump Arena. You're still able to play in Cameron Indoor Arena. So it's like the experience. You may get exposure to things that you wouldn't have if you didn't go to college. So, I mean, it's good to just broaden your horizons as much as you can. And again, selfishly as a college fan, I want to see them play in college. And again, G League, if G League was popping, okay, I get it, but it's not. So
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, it's there, but these guys aren't going to play in the G League. They're developing and they're training and those types of things. But why not put on a uniform? And that's the other thing too. Let's say things don't work out right in the pros. You put on an Ohio State uniform, you good for life.
You good.
You put on Duke, you put on Kentucky. Oh my God, you good.
You good.
So that's a decent backup plan for those that may not pan out long term in the NBA. You can get business connections just because you played for those universities and things of that nature, even though you didn't graduate.
Right.
The fact that you put on that uniform is invaluable.
The doors of the church is open.
Man, you over there clapping like Birdman and shit over there.
The doors of the church is open.
And I agree with all of that. I'm just playing devil's advocate because, like, you know, Harden turned down a lot of money after he was in the NBA because he was in a certain situation. When that money comes from you, you know, and your financial and your family situation, I think it's mythical, and we've all lived the dream and had those great college experiences. But to be realistic, you know, people are going to get this money. We're in such a get the bag society that I just don't think that foray of, you know, really having that esoteric kind of vision for them to go to is not where it's at.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think before the G League, I would do Europe, like what LaMelo did.
Yeah.
I would be down with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that in even just interviews I heard today, him talking about how much he developed and going overseas. That's a whole different experience too, that they may not ever get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I definitely would rock with that.
Absolutely.
Even though I hope they would show them, you know, on TV out here so we can at least see them.
No point.
We're going to get there. All right, let's get to these quick hits, man. Quick hits sponsored by Thick Fit Meal Prep. When it comes to your health, it starts in the kitchen. Thick Fit Meal Prep is here to help you with your journey along the way, providing healthy and delicious meals on the go. They do offer delivery, so order your meals and they will have them delivered. Call them at 702-850-3388 or on Instagram, Thick Fit Meal Prep. Use that hashtag black and get an extra additional free meal on us. Hit them with them quick hits, Miles. What you got?
John, first time you were starstruck, if ever.
I was in New York, and I was meeting a friend at the 4040 Club, and it was dark. I was getting out the Uber, walking up to the door, saw somebody get out of a black Escalade, big, huge guy, and somebody wrapped up in a fur, Scully, walking to the door. And of course, I'm a gentleman. I open up the door. Welcome in. It was Beyoncé.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the night Steve Francis got traded, first game with the Knicks.
Okay.
And so I was going to the 4040 Club, and she walked in, and standing at the top of the stairs was Jay-Z. And the crazy thing about New York, people were just like, ho hum, like it was nothing. It was just like regular people, but definitely was like, you know, just.
I think I freeze for that one too.
Yeah,
though.
I froze. I mean, it was like, you know, I played it cool. I was like, hey, you know, welcome, this, that, and the other. I mean, it's her spot. Like, I'm welcoming her on the spot. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, come on in, man. Enjoy yourself. Get comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah, so definitely starstruck there. And then also, too, I really appreciate Archie Manning. You know, it worked a lot Gatorade with the Manning family.
Dope.
You know, everyone speaks, you know, Peyton is amazing. Eli's amazing. Even Cooper is amazing, but Archie is just a great guy.
Awesome guy.
And
though.
just an awesome, I call him Uncle Archie. And, you know, one of the best experiences I've had is going to the Manning Passing Academy in New Orleans.
Wow.
That is official.
That is
You have the
legit.
best quarterbacks in the world coming and playing from a high school perspective. And the camp counselors are there are Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson.
and they're
you know,
they're actually there in it.
They're not only in it, they're staying in these beat up dorm rooms.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like, oh,
Watching the
Peyton, you
film.
staying at the hotel. You don't know. They're all
They're
in
all in
there.
Yeah.
That's
Really just grinding because they love the game that much. So I definitely, you know, appreciate that.
Yeah, there's a little one coming up too. So
Yeah, he's a baller.
yeah, he is. So top 5, I guess, your Mount Rushmore of Ohio State football players.
That's a good
Ever.
one.
Ooh,
That's a good
that's
one.
not fair. You can't do that to me. That's like picking your own, you know, picking your children, you know. That in no particular order, it's got to be
No order.
okay. Definitely Zeke,
I like it.
Eddie George, Chris Carter,
Like it.
Justin Fields.
Really?
Oh.
Justin Fields.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Dude's the best quarterback we've ever had, ever at Ohio State. I thought it was Dwayne Haskins, but Justin Fields is the truth.
No,
the whole truth.
poor
And nothing
Dustin.
but the truth.
Yeah.
And probably number 5, Orlando Pace.
So the 2-time Heisman Trophy winner didn't make the cut?
Well, it's not. Well, don't call me out for a humble brag, but he's like an uncle, like a friend. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like he's Mount Rushmore.
He's like one of the
beyond-
children.
Yeah, no, he's beyond Mount. He's like
He
you don't
Mufasa
count,
out there.
Right.
It's just like when you ask somebody their top 5 rappers, you don't count Jay-Z. It's just like he's just not counted.
Okay.
You know, so in that same level, yeah, but definitely Archie though. But from who I have seen play, how about that?
Okay.
You know, I didn't get to see Archie play.
Nice
as a child, so,
qualifier on
yeah.
that.
I like it. So you're a networking guy. So dead or alive, give me 3 people that you would like to have just a networking dinner with.
Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg.
There you
I
go.
like it.
All right, so let's get into this winner circle, man. You got some stuff you want to definitely share with us. The winner circle is sponsored by Nevada Grow. Nevada Grow is here providing the right data, making the right decisions, helping you facilitate the right connections. Nevada Grow is helping small businesses here in Nevada Grow. So here in the winner circle, you wanted to talk about really just innately what's in you is just your service to others. So tell us, like, what does that mean for you? Just when someone says that.
I mean, to me, it's just important to really understand, why are you on this earth? What is your purpose? Right? One of the books I read that really changed my life was called Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. It really helped me kind of understand and unlock, what am I here to do?
Okay.
Is it to be a marketer? Is it to be, sports entertainment guy? Absolutely not. It's really to help people, just motivate them, inspire them, and to encourage them to be the best that they can be and to believe in yourself. My father raised me to say, just believe in yourself. You know what I mean? And so I want to share that and pass that along with others, provide people advice and insight just based on all the multiple experiences I've had throughout my career and just my life in general. And it just is something that innately just naturally comes. Like, God blessed me with the ability to talk and connect with others. God blessed me with social media so I can connect with several people very easily at any time of day.
Yes.
So in order to really fulfill your purpose, God is going to put things in your life that makes it easier for you to do your job.
Absolutely.
And so for me, helping, inspiring others, really helping people get to where they want to get, and maybe helping them find a way to get to where they want to get. And it's never a straight road. It's never a straight path. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, your twists and turns.
Yes.
And it may not always turn out
Preach.
to be where you want to be. There may be even something better that you didn't even think about
Right.
that can come about too. So always keep an open mind, always be willing to try things. One of the things that I posted today on social was the 3 C's, but I'm going to add a 4C.
Okay.
So really about having confidence. Confidence is so key, especially for Black people. You know what I mean? There's so many things that could just really hurt our confidence and just get us in a funk. And you want to make sure you have confidence, but you want to have the confidence to make a choice and to take a chance. Because if you don't, your life will never change.
That's the 4th C. There you
So
go.
you really want to take that and just do what you can
Right.
and put in your all. Have the confidence to make a choice, to take a chance. And if you don't, your life won't change. So if you want to be a game changer, if you want things to happen, you gotta shoot your shot. You gotta try different things. You gotta take risks. You're not always going to win,
Right.
but you want to learn from those situations. Take that, and you're never starting from scratch. You're starting from experience.
Ooh, look at that.
That's a quote. That's that's definitely a quote. This is a time, man. This is an interesting time in our world, obviously, for many different reasons. But the connecting piece, it's been easier in some cases. It's been harder in some cases just due to COVID. So, advice for a young man, particularly a young Black male, trying to connect and get into the game now in this new kind of world.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID. There's some positives to COVID.
Mhm.
A lot of people are like, man, you crazy, but the positives of people are now more open to doing video chats.
Yes.
And you're able to connect. You're able to have more multiple meetings because you're able to do it from the comfort of your home or from an office or something along those lines. So take the time, take the initiative to reach out. I just had dinner right before here with a young man who reached out to me via Instagram. He works with the Big Three. He says he's in Vegas for a conference or for some meetings. He's like, you want to meet up? Perfect stranger. I don't know him from Adam, but young guy, hungry. Said, sure, let's go to Peppermill. Never been to Peppermill, so I wanted to go check that out. Chopped it up with them. That's a perfect example of somebody just reaching out to me. Now, everybody's not going to respond,
Right.
but all you need is one opportunity, one
That's it.
chance. And that's why I try to, please don't hit me up too much, but but I will respond. I will, because, you know, one of my mentors throughout my career said, always respond. Even if you can't help them, if there's not an interest, just, you know, acknowledge that you got the message. Now, of course, if it's straight spam, it's getting deleted.
Right.
But you want to be able to reach out and help. So I would, for young people, reach out. LinkedIn is the most powerful platform out there. Instagram is powerful. You can connect with anyone in maybe 1 to 2 connections, if at all possible.
Yeah.
Shoot a note, see what happens. If it doesn't happen, keep moving. All you need is that one shot. Just go for it.
I like it. So you touched on mentors, and I wanted to ask you, like, how do you see mentorship, and, you know, how have you established or going after mentors, you know, in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's been natural because it's either a former boss or a friend of a friend, or, you know, someone that's been there.
Okay.
So I've been fortunate enough to have some really good mentors, a lot of friends of my father. One of my mentors, former CEO Bob Evans, and he's a beast because
Dope.
every time I talk to him about corporate America and being a black man in corporate America, he like knows the play before I even say it. He's like, yep, been there, done that.
Right.
And so I want to now return the favor to others, to try to help the next people, the landmines that I stepped on or the things that I messed up on, just really just try to help as many people, because we need more representation at the C-suite level within these major corporations. And that's a big goal of mine, because I can tell you that when I was starting at PepsiCo and I was talking to a lot of executives in their around the same age that I am now, a lot of them fizzled out. They got to maybe the director level, senior director level,
And then you didn't
and they
see
were
it.
like, you know, this ain't for me. And so I'm committed to continue to fight and to continue to grow within an organization so we can bring others along. And so back in 2006, we started an organization called Black Sports Professionals. BSP to
Yes.
really help, because I was at the Miami Dolphins, I'm at the Orlando Magic, I'm the only
You're
person
not
in there
seeing
that's
anybody
black.
else. Yeah.
And it was a young man that reached out to me. He met my uncle in Cleveland, and I was at the Magic, he was at the Cavs. He's like, hey, you know, I met your uncle, Bruce Wimbush.
Bruce,
Reached
shout out to Bruce.
me. My uncle Glenn connected us, and we found this organization, and we just started connecting people. And our passion is to just connect and empower individuals to be successful in the sports industry.
That's super
And
dope.
just helping people, exposure. Like, a lot of people don't know that you could work behind the scenes within a professional sports organization or for a brand.
All the different levels
Yeah,
that
all
are
the different
there,
levels
right?
that are available.
Yeah.
So
Right.
really just helping connect when there's a job. You know, if you follow me on social media, it's job alert, like, hey, something's out there. You may not get it, but I at least want you to be aware of it and
Yeah.
just shoot your shot to see, okay, it may not be that opportunity, but it may be something else. So this organization has done wonders, not only for me professionally, but a lot of other people. Like when we started 2006, we were assistant managers and managers. Now people are, you know, the
VPs and
senior
senior
women's
this.
senior women's administrator for the SEC, Tiffany Daniels,
Wow.
was, you know, on the board with me back
Nice.
then. I mean, there's just so many count. Adrian Williams is leading the Braves organization. They just dropped an offset collaboration that's fire. I mean, like all these people, and then he hired so many people from this network. So really just helping people get on is the purpose of this organization.
Well, I want to give you your flowers, because I definitely joined that, and that helped me navigate, you know, connecting with people such as yourself and Bruce and just others along the way to give a tidbit, or just to see that these people had different titles and higher titles and stuff to strive for, and then positions that I didn't even know existed. So, you know, I want to give you your flowers, and because of that foundation you led, you know, we have BSP Las Vegas, you know, that we're able to kick off. So I just want to thank you and your guidance and leadership for helping us get that kind of going and started out here. So that's amazing.
I mean, if it wasn't for BSP, I wouldn't be here right now.
Boom. That's awesome, man.
Broad question, man. The future of sports and sports business particularly, where do you see it going from here?
It's a great question. I mean, I definitely think it's going to continue to evolve. Sports in general needs to evolve in order to survive. And I think this situation that we're in right now with COVID has people thinking a lot differently.
Yeah.
You're going to have to operate and maneuver a lot differently.
Right.
Health and safety is the norm. There is no new norm. Like people are like, oh, masks are going to go away. They may, but you're still going to need to provide the health and cleanliness and just making sure. I mean, it's crazy that a disease makes people now wash their hands.
Right.
You know, it's like you're supposed to wash your hands.
it like that wasn't.
But okay, if people are going to clean extra and do more, I mean, a lot of these companies are probably profiting from this, especially your P&Gs and your Cloroxes of the world. So, you know, happy for them.
Right.
But sports business, you're going to have to operate a lot differently.
Yeah.
The fan experience is going to need to change. You're going to have to probably adjust to do more streaming to be able to connect with more people. I mean, what the NBA did in their bubble was amazing with
Right.
Michelob Ultra courtside. I thought that was amazing,
Great
even
one.
though I wanted to watch on my screen. I'm not trying to watch on a laptop, but hey, if they can figure out how to get it on the flat screen, we good.
There you go.
But I do think that we're going to have to continue to evolve. And from a business perspective, they're going to have to show the ROI.
Yes.
You know, like the putting up a sign and putting the Gatorade carts out there is not necessarily going to turn into revenue.
Not as
And
much
a lot
anymore.
of these businesses are having guns to their heads and budgets are tight and expenses are really tight. And if you can't show that this investment generated X return back to your business,
Yeah.
it's going to be tight.
Yep.
And so you have your social media companies and businesses like Google and Facebook that can show direct ROI to your
Yes.
investment. Whereas if I do a deal with the New York Knicks, you know, inherently maybe, you know, it helped drive the business, but when you're talking to a chief financial officer, it ain't gonna
they
fly.
Right.
So you have to make sure that we make adjustments and ensuring that we're delivering value back to these businesses and these brands as well as the fans.
Yes.
And making sure that the fans get what they need, the enjoyment that's necessary
That's a
in order
big
to be
part of it.
successful. The fan engagement is key. That hadn't really changed even when I was working for the Dolphins. That was a big piece too, because
Okay.
everyone was worried about the flat screen. People aren't going to want to go to the games anymore.
They
But
wanna be
I
at the
think now,
home.
though, the benefit of COVID too is the fact that we've been separated for so long.
Yeah.
So now people want to come together. So that's
Right.
going to be a benefit. People are going to want to come
Wanna
hang out
go
and those
do
types
every
of things.
kind of
Whether it's
experience.
at the game or at a bar or a restaurant,
Yep.
people want to gather and really have a good time with each other.
That's awesome. So, last topic, and quick on this. Definitely if you want to touch, but just men's health. You know what I mean? Just. I know us as black men probably are the worst in taking care of ourselves. So, is there anything that you want to share around, that aspect?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where if you talk about what has been my struggle throughout my career,
Mm.
it's been managing my health. It definitely has been something to where, full transparency, I battled obesity my whole career,
Uh-huh.
my whole life as a kid. It was just one of those things where it just was hard and
Okay.
difficult. And knowing being in sports, you got to look the part too.
Yes.
You can't come around looking sloppy and all those types of things. And so it was just really important for me to make sure that I manage my health as best as I can. So it's great that you have partners that have fit meals, you know what I
Right.
mean, that could help. So busy individuals like myself that don't have time to cook, if it's already there, it's a good situation. Of course,
Right.
you're going to these business meetings, business dinners, drinking alcohol. I mean, I stopped drinking alcohol when I was 25 because it was just too hard for me to recover.
And them 40 Hennessy parties you used to have back in the days,
Yep,
right?
Exactly. So, oh, you saw that on Facebook. But yeah, it's just one of those things where if you don't take the time to take care of you,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be able to take care of your family and you're not going to be successful in life.
That's big, man.
So you got to put in the extra effort. Go to the doctor. Man, if I get a little scratch, I'm going to the doctor. I mean, you paying for your health insurance anyway, so you might as well use it, right? So I think it's just important to make sure that you dedicate and make the time to go to the gym, to work out, do something that you enjoy. You don't have to do all the CrossFit or anything crazy or the Pelotonians and all that stuff, but do what you enjoy.
They got Beyonce now, though.
I know. But do what you feel is best and make sure you just look out for yourself because life is short and you want to make sure that you can maximize your time on this earth to make that impact and your, health is wealth.
Health is wealth, man. That's definitely it. So, man, time flies. We're at the assist, man. And this is, you've been dropping nuggets and jewels, but is there like a word or a philosophy that you live by? Just a quick, 30 seconds quote or words you live by or something you would tell your younger self?
I definitely would say, keep moving forward, right? Don't be afraid to take a chance. Don't be afraid to take a risk And if someone offers you, this is a quote from Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook. If someone offers you a seat on a rocket ship,
Mm-hmm.
you don't ask what seat you're going on. You just get on the ship.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
So you definitely want to, take the time. And another book that really changed my life was Who Moved My Cheese.
I love it.
Spencer Johnson.
Great book.
I mean,
It
great
is a
book,
great
but
book.
it just really, and of course, I moved 11 times. So that tells you that I really followed the book to the T.
Yeah.
But if you don't take the opportunity to try new things, to do different things, you're not going to be where you want to be. So I love the shoot your shot. We need to continue to tell people to shoot your shot.
Absolutely.
Go for what you know and make things happen and put God first, and everything else will work itself out.
It's beautiful.
There it is. I love it. Well, hey, we want to thank our guest. We have his information on the screen, and we'll put it in the show notes for all you guys listening on the podcast platforms. And reach out. He's definitely a LinkedIn open networker, and has valuable jewels. And just as he's stated in his winner circles, he's here to service and serve others. We want to thank the people for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we want to also thank all of our sponsors. So reach out if you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the show. Additional comments and contact, you can check us out on The Locker Room that drops every Tuesday. And remember, you can listen to us anywhere where podcasts are being played. Please be safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you. That's when my music usually drops. So should we start freestyling then?
Thank you.
All us blacks got it, sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.